Hi guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Heather Morrison with Bold Beyond Belief, and this week we're talking about imposter syndrome. This is such an epidemic, especially among women these days. So I wanted to challenge you to tune out everything you've got going on for the next 30 minutes. Grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, and let's get started. So what is imposter syndrome? Let's kind of get a rapid definition around it first of all. Imposter syndrome is feeling like a fraud, right? Like you might be found out, might be exposed that you aren't capable enough. You might be going live on Facebook, or you might be going up in front of a crowd and you're asking yourself, who am I? How am I qualified enough to teach these people how to do this when I feel like I'm failing in my life? Okay, so that's kind of the background on imposter syndrome. And the reason we talk about this is because this is one of the things that keeps us from getting visible. This is one of the pillars of my program, is visibility. We talked about this last week in terms of if you hide, you can't help. So now we're going to talk about why we hide. And imposter syndrome is a big one. And it seems to me it's a big epidemic, right? It's a big buzzword right now. And the title of my talk this week was, it's not that you're suffering from it, it's that you're subscribing to it, okay? So brace yourself. This is going to get real. We're going to do a little bit of deep diving on this one. Not blaming you, right, for subscribing to imposter syndrome. But one of the things that's really helped me in my life, and I'm going to put this quote up on the screen because it's something that I run. It's a filter that I run things through, right? People only take as much as you're willing to give. Okay. People only take as much as you're willing to give. So when we talk to ourselves and we say, oh, people are always, they take. The other side of that coin is that you're giving. Okay. So the reason I bring up that quote is because I want you to realize that there's strength. You have the power to cancel your subscription to imposter syndrome just because it exists. And yes, it is a very real phenomenon. Doesn't mean you have to continually subscribe to it. So that's what we're going to talk about this week. I'm going live on StreamYard. So if you haven't already given StreamYard permission to show your name, please do so now. There's a link down below this video. Otherwise, I will just see a comment that says, Facebook user says, amen, or I agree, or whatever it is. And I really want to know who you are and what you have to say about this. So again, please make sure that you are giving StreamYard permission to use your name. Okay, just a little housekeeping here. So the whole idea of fake it till you make it. This is another huge buzz phrase that's going around right now. Well, just fake it till you make it. What exactly does that mean? Fake it till you make it, right? I understand there's a little modicum of truth in this, in that the more we speak about something, the more action we're going to take about something, the more action we take, the more confidence we're going to have. But the whole fake it idea means that you have that confidence in the first place. Well, how do you fake confidence if you don't have it? It's kind of right. So here's what to do instead. Okay, this is one of the three things we're going to talk about today. How fake it till you make it is a flawed concept and what to do instead. Number two, we're going to talk about a simple question, just a really simple snippet that you can ask yourself to give yourself a boost of confidence immediately. I love little things that you can stick in your toolbox. They're not involved. They're not huge. It's not a big, huge phrase that you have to remember. Just one little simple question you can ask yourself to give yourself a boost of confidence. And then number three, an exercise you can use to overcome your quote unquote weaknesses. Okay. So instead of faking it, I encourage you to start thinking about fixing it. Right? I don't like to fake anything. I'm a person that wears my heart on my sleeve. I'm bold with my thoughts. I'm bold with my voice. I can't fake it. I don't like faking it. Right? And I think that that's part of that feeds into itself, right? How do you feel like an imposter? Well, you're faking it, right? So fake it till you make it just feeds more into that. Okay, so let's fix it. And how do you do that? How do you fix it? If it were just in terms of saying, have more confidence, ta-da, boom, you're fixed. My job is done, right? We're 8 minutes into the broadcast. My job is done here. If you could just fake it by now, you would have faked it by now. If you could have, if the thing that we talked about last week was the competence loop. Okay. going to take this away. The confidence competent loop. Okay. That dictates that confidence isn't step number one in doing something. It's not step number 2 or number 3. It's step number 4 in the confidence competent loop. Here's what that looks like. Let me break it down for you. When you're getting ready to get on a bike for the first time, right? Chances are you didn't have confidence. Your parents plopped you on that bike. They pushed you. You ran into a tree. Okay. So first you took action. That's step number 1, taking action. Okay. Step number 2 was running into the tree. But running into the tree provided you with some input, some feedback. Okay. That allowed you to do step number 3, which is improving your competence. You quickly learned that you had steering, handlebars, and you could steer away from the tree the next time. So that improved your competence, which gave you a boost of confidence. That's step number 4 in the whole process, not step number 1. So when people say fake it till you make it, be confident. That's step number 4 in reality, not step number 1. Okay. Taking action is number 1. And so how do we take action? Let's back it up a whole step, okay? In terms of faking it till you make it, let's blow that concept right out of the water. You've already made it, okay? I'm not sure what making it means. You've already made it regardless of how many zeros are in your bank account. You've already made it. You're on the right side of the dirt. That means you're alive and there's possibility and potential, right? So when you think that you're going to be happy all of a sudden when you've quote unquote made it, what does that look like for you? What does making it look like for you? Okay. Does that mean you'll get positive feedback from your peers? Does that mean you'll have 6 or 7 zeros in your bank account? What does make it even mean? And here's what we're doing when we're quote unquote trying to make it. We're tying our internal worth to external validation. Okay, here's another one of my favorite quotes that I'm going to share with you. Anytime you tie your internal worth to an external validation, you will always be disappointed. What does that mean? That means that if you feel that you have to have a certain amount of zeros in your bank account, you feel that you have to have a certain amount of likes on Facebook, you feel that you have to do so many talks in the course of a year, you feel like you have to have 25 people enrolled in your program before you make it and feel good about yourself, that's backwards, right? You've already made it, okay? You're tying your internal worth to an external validation, and you'll always be disappointed because you'll always be chasing it. Okay. If you talk to a millionaire, someone who's made it, someone who has those zeros in their banking account, they will tell you new level, new devil. Okay. Just because you make it and have so many followers and so many people in a coaching program and so many zeros in your banking account doesn't mean that the fear goes away. Right. New level, new devil. Now you've got a whole new set of issues to deal with. But if along the way you can feel good about yourself, that internal worth, you've secured that and anchored that in, it doesn't matter what that external validation is. Having said that, I'm not saying I don't have goals. I do. And they do involve zeros in my bank account. Right? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that I already feel like I've made it because I'm actually showing up. I'm taking step number 1, which is action. Okay. So how do you get into that action in the first place? This is a concept that I came across that I love. It wraps it all up in a bow very, very nicely. And it's called What Would She Do? Tracy Litt, who is an author and a speaker and just a phenomenal human being, talks about, she has a book called Worthy Human. Worthy Human. You are the problem, but you're also the answer. Okay. And so what that means is that, again, goes back to that first thing we talked about. You have the power, you have the strength to fix this. Okay. And so the thing about confidence is not a feeling. Let me back myself up. I'm just big, huge head in the screen here. Confidence is not a feeling. It's a habit. Okay. Confidence is not a feeling. It's a habit. When you say, I will do that talk when I feel confident. I will try to close a sale with a client when I feel confident. I will go live on Facebook when I feel confident. When that fear goes away, here's a Debbie Downer moment for you. It never goes away. Ever, ever. Okay? And we're going to talk about in a minute how to get through that fear. Okay. But I want you to get into the habit of doing the habits of what this future self, your future self would do, which is where the whole what would she do comes in. And I love this concept. Instead of laying in bed in the morning and thinking, I should be doing this, I should be getting up, I should be doing my morning routine, I should be going live on Facebook, you end up shooting all over yourself. It's not healthy. That's not a healthy relationship to have with yourself. So if you can in turn ask yourself, okay, I've sat down and I've decided that these are my goals. This is what I want in my bank account. This is what I want in my business. Okay. Come up with a list of habits that you would need to do in order to achieve those. If you're looking at this person, this successful version of yourself in the future, okay, what would she do? If she were looking to put 25 people in a program, if she were looking to close $10,000 worth of sales this month, what would she do? What would she be doing right now when the alarm's going off? Hitting snooze 17 times? Probably not. Going on Facebook and comparing herself to everybody else on Facebook and what's going on in their business? Probably not. What would be the habits? I want you to write down the habits of what that future self of you would be doing. Okay? Because I don't like comparing yourself to other people. The only competition I have is a better version of myself. That's it. I am my own competition. Okay? I don't want to be like Susie Q on Facebook. I want to be a better version of Heather Morrison. How do I do that? I create habits that ensure that my future self is going to nail those goals. That's it. It's a habit. It's not a feeling. Okay? Which is good. When people say, well, I lost my confidence. No, you didn't. It's there. You just need to tap into it, right? How do you tap into it? You take action. You get into action. Because again, that provides you feedback. You ran into a tree, which allows you to change it, which increases your competency. Steering wheel, handlebars, which improves it, which gives you a boost of confidence, which in turn makes you want to take more action. And that's what builds your confidence. Not feeling like it, not waiting to feel like it. Because trust me, you will probably never feel like it if that's the angle that you're coming at it from. Okay. So we've talked about writing down those goals of what this future self would look like, writing down the habits of what that future self needs to get into in order to become that future self. What would she do? Sitting there asking yourself, I need to get out of bed. I should get out of bed. I'm a loser. I'm worthless. I always say I'm going to do it. I never do. Nope. Stop. Time out. What would she do? What would be something you could do today that your future self would thank you for? That's so powerful, you guys. Okay. So ask yourself, what would she do? Okay. And then I want you to ask yourself, we want to get into number 2, which is a huge little booster that you can do. You can ask yourself to get a little boost of confidence. When you're sitting there and you're wringing your hands, I have to go live on Facebook. I don't want to go live on Facebook. Stop. What would she do? Would she be sitting here being nervous about that? Probably not. She would probably just say, let's go live on Facebook. Okay. But let's deal in reality. So once, this is step number 2, once you're sitting there and you're not feeling confident about going live, making a sale, doing a call, responding to somebody on Facebook, okay, you've got fear that's sitting with you. And that fear, that imposter syndrome is telling you, I'm not qualified, I'm not worth it, she'll never believe me, who am I to teach this, I'm not capable. Okay. Ask yourself, is that a fact or a belief? Is that a fact or a belief or a story? We talked about last week about how that story is you run your scenario through that fear filter. My 6th grade teacher told me I'd never amount to anything, right? My father told me I'd never amount to anything. Whatever the story is that you're telling yourself, anytime you have fear that's coming up in terms of doing something new, that's the fear filter you're running everything through. I'm not capable. My father told me that. Is that a fact or is that a belief? Is something that somebody told you 25 years ago a fact today? 99% of the time, it wasn't a fact when they told it to you 25 years ago. They told it to you because that's what they heard, right? Some insecurity in their life wanted them to project that on you, and then you grabbed onto that like it was truth and reality, And that's what you run everything in your life through. So I want you to ask yourself, next time you're going to get up on stage, go live, talk to a client, write new content, whatever that is for you, create a new program. I want you to ask yourself, what am I afraid of here? And is that a fact or is that a belief? Okay. For example, when you're wanting to go live on stage and you're sitting here and your mind is thinking that Debbie Downer, that's imposter syndrome, that chatty Kathy is coming up and saying, you can't do this. Okay. Why? Why can't I do this? Okay. Intentionally catastrophize. I do this all the time. What's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that can happen? I'm going to go live on stage. I'm going to go live on Facebook. I'm going to miss a word. I'm not going to say something correctly. I'm going to drop my notes on the floor. Okay. Is that a reality? Yeah, that could potentially happen. Absolutely. Okay. What then? What if I forget to tell you something? Are you going to know that I forgot to tell you something? Nope. Okay. What if you're live on stage and you drop your notes on the floor? Okay. You get a good laugh out of it. You might turn purple. You might feel a little embarrassed. You pick up your notes. That provided you feedback though, right? You ran into the tree. You're not going to do that again. You dropped your notes on the floor. You're not going to do that again. Figure out next time how to do it without notes. Ta-da, right? Or your mind is saying everyone's going to laugh at you. Is that a fact? Have you gone up on stage before? Have you talked to somebody in person before? Have you been in a networking before, talked to people, and they fell down on the floor laughing at you? No, that's not a reality. That's not a fact. That's a belief you're telling yourself. That's a story that you're telling yourself. Okay? So just that phrase, I've had clients tell me that just that phrase has made the biggest difference in how they show up. When they get that loop going on in their head, stop, time out. Is that a fact? Or is that some story I'm telling myself? And then act accordingly and intentionally catastrophize. What's the worst that could happen here? Right? What's the worst that could happen here? I don't have any viewers that show up live. Okay, that's fine. Then I could take this content and I could slice it and dice it and use it for something else. Use it for an email, use it for an Instagram post. There's no downside to me doing this, even if no one shows up, right? And I'm also exercising that habit of getting into action, which you know what that's going to do for me? Provide me more confidence that, oh, I did a live. Whew. I put my hand up, took my 2 fingers, put my hand on my pulse. I'm still alive. My coach Jenna does that for us. Like, take your pulse. You still alive? Ta-da, right? Which is going to provide me more confidence. Step number 4, right? In that confidence loop. Okay, ask yourself, is that a fact or is that a belief? Excuse me. Goodness sakes, excuse me. Okay. So when we're dealing in reality, okay, I want you to make a column, 2 columns. And the columns are going to be the worst fear that you have, and then the reality. Do this for a week. Hugely helpful, okay? Take a piece of paper. Doesn't have to be fancy. Don't overthink this. Don't do a Word document. Take a piece of paper out of your printer, draw a line down the center, draw 2 columns. What's my fear? What was the reality? Okay? Write down the fears that you're having around something. What are you afraid of in going live in Facebook? Okay? Write down what actually happened when you did. What's your fear in making an offer to a client? That they'll say no? Is that a reality? Yeah, that might be a reality. Okay. Can you deal with that reality? Yep. Here's the secret sauce. Confidence isn't waiting until you're ready. That's not confidence. We talked about that as a habit, right? Confidence isn't waiting until you're ready to do something. It's knowing that when you do something, you'll be okay no matter what the outcome. That's all confidence is knowing that when I do this thing, when I go live, when I make a client call, I'll be okay no matter what the outcome. There are very few things in life that are fatal. Going live isn't going to kill you. Making a conference call or making a client call is not going to kill you. Okay, so I want you to write down this week, what are those fears? Because I can tell you when you get stuff out of your head and onto paper, it makes a huge difference. Huge difference. You can expand your mind to doing the proactive things it takes instead of just ruminating in that fear cycle. You can get it down on paper and go, really? This is what I was afraid of? Right? Okay. So write down, what am I afraid is going to happen? Okay. What are my fears? What am I afraid is going to happen around those fears? What's the reality that actually happened? Okay. This might be an ongoing list that you put in your journal and refer back to from time to time. I can't tell you how many things that I've done in my life. And the biggest thing from keeping me getting started is fear of how it's going to end. The biggest thing in keeping people from getting started is the fear of how it's going to end. Let go of the outcome. Let go of the outcome. Put that on a Post-it note, stick it on your computer, stick it on your bathroom mirror, let go of the outcome. Here's the secret. It's not up to you anyways. You have no control over the outcome. I have no control over if people show up live. I can make a plan. I have an intent. I'd like to see it go a certain direction, but if it doesn't go that direction, I don't have any control over it anyways. Right? Let go of the outcome. That is my superpower in life. Have a plan, have an intent, let go of the outcome. Because if I'm not attached to the outcome, I have no fear in getting started, right? It's not that I don't have fear. I have less fear in getting started, okay? Which brings me to my next point. Let's talk about fear, the F word, okay? Whenever I hear someone say, I'm fearless, I know that's BS. There's no such thing as fearless. Because your body, 200,000 years ago, right? Your body was designed to be fearful. It's how it kept you alive. It's how it kept your body from getting eaten by the saber-toothed tiger that was hanging out in the bush. Fear has been with us for 200,000 years as human beings. It will never go away. It just won't. Here's why. It has a job to do, and it does it really well. It's protecting you. Anytime you go to do something new, your body says, wait a minute, we haven't done this one before. And it's going to protect you. It's working all the time to protect you. Okay. And it's going to throw up that imposter syndrome. You don't know what you're doing. People are going to laugh at you. They're going to spread the word that you're not good at what you do. You're never going to have that money. You're going to lose the house, right? This is what fear does. It takes it from 0 to 60. So that's why I intentionally catastrophize. I do fear's job for it. Right? I go, oh, okay, really? You want to go on this roller coaster? Let's go. What's the worst that could happen? And would you be okay if that happened? Yeah, absolutely. Right? Very few things in life are fatal. So embrace fear. Elizabeth Gilbert had a podcast once that I was listening to. She's the one that wrote Eat, Pray, Love. She's written a bunch of books. Very intelligent woman. She talks about fear coming along for the road trip. Okay? It's gonna come. You can't push it away. You can't be fearless. You don't want to be fearless because when you actually have someone that's chasing you down the street, you want that fear to kick in to move your feet into action to get out of the dangerous situation. So you don't want fear to go away, but it's learning how to have a relationship with fear that will boost your confidence. Okay? So if you can embrace it, Elizabeth Gilbert says, you can come on the road trip, fear, not a problem, but I'm picking out the snacks, I'm picking out the radio stations, and you get to sit in the back seat. Don't you love that? I love that visual. It's always going to be here. Just sit in the back seat. You don't get to say anything, right? Just enjoy the ride. Look out the window and realize that I'm the one driving. I got this. It's okay. We're going to be cool. So if you can embrace fear and thank it for doing its job, hold its hand and say, it's okay, I got this. Right? Stop running from fear. Embrace it. Thank it for doing its job. Tell it to sit in the back seat. Zip it. You got this. Look out the window. Okay? So stop running from the fear. The fear is there for a reason. Okay? It's like when you are running down the street, right, or walking down the street and you think there's somebody following you. The faster you run, or a dog, or the faster you run, the faster it's going to run after you. But if you can stand firmly, turn around and say, can I help you? Right? Chances are that person's going to, cower in fear and run away, or that dog is going to, because you've stood your ground. Can I help you? Right? So when fear is chasing you down, don't run. Don't run away from it. Turn around and embrace it. See, what is it we're fearful of here? How can I help you feel better about this? Have I done this before? No. Right? Could I mess up? Yeah, fear. I could absolutely mess up. That's a possibility. Right? And fear is saying, what if you do mess up? Okay, let's intentionally catastrophize that. What if I do mess up? Am I going to die? Nope. No saber-toothed tigers hanging out in bushes these days. Will I be embarrassed? Yeah, might be. I'll be embarrassed if I run into a tree on my bicycle too. But I figured out to use my handlebars and move a different direction. And it wasn't failure, it was feedback. There's no such thing as failure. I take that back. Failure is when you're sitting, not doing anything. You're letting that fear take the wheel and take over your life. That's when you fail. But if you stand up and fail and fail, get feedback over and over and over and over again, that's not failure. You stood up and you tried, and now you know how to do it better the next time around. That's all. Okay. So embrace that fear. Treat it like a child, because honestly, it is. It doesn't know what's going on. Wait a minute, we haven't done this before. Here's what I know about fear. When fear shows up, I know I'm on the right path. Because if I were doing the same thing and I weren't growing as a person, as a businesswoman, I would feel fear. So if you can look at it from that perspective, that once that fear starts creeping in, it's because you're doing something new. It's because you're growing. That's God, right? So instead of knocking it down and saying, go away, go, it's never going to go away. Embrace it and say, oh, okay, what are you trying to tell me here? What can I tell you to make you believe we're going to be okay? Right? We're not going to die from it. We'll learn something from it. We'll do it better next time. Sit in the back seat. I got it. Okay. So lastly, we want to talk about an exercise to overcome your weaknesses. Okay. Weaknesses. I don't believe that there's really any such thing as weaknesses. It's just something that you haven't mastered yet. Here's the scoop. You don't have to master it. Let it go. Let it go. Right? If you're a tennis player and your backhand is stronger than your, what is it, forehand? Whatever the opposite of backhand is. If you've got a strong backhand, use that, right? Don't waste your time or your energy focusing on something that A, doesn't interest you, and B, you're not good at. Focus on your strengths. There's a great program called Strengths Finder. You can just find it online, strengthsfinder.com. There's a book, there's a CD, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes with it. But it's a little quiz you could take. I think it's free. It takes, I don't know, like less than 5 minutes. And you work through and you find out what your strengths are. I found out I'm a great communicator, right? I like to communicate. I like to talk. I'm good at it. I like doing that. There's lots of things. Don't ask me to do your taxes. No interest. Not good at it. Don't enjoy it. Not going to be better at it, right? I outsource that to my husband, right? Outsource what you're not good at, right? Live in your strengths, okay? Inventory your strengths. So here's exercise number 2 for this week, okay? Inventory your strengths. And Strengths Finders is great at helping you do that, by the way. Figure out what your strengths are, okay? Write them down on a piece of paper. Write down your strengths and your accolades. Here's what that does. When you're sitting and feeling you're subscribing to that imposter syndrome, now you've got tangible proof. When you're saying, I'm not a confident person, okay, write down action that you took in the past that a confident person would do and something that made you feel confident. There's a tangible. Okay. That fear that comes up for you, that Debbie Downer that's going to tell you you're not capable, the more you can come back with, well, I did this. Well, I've done that. Well, I've done this. The more you're going to pack down that Debbie Downer and that imposter syndrome. Just unsubscribe to it. It's a phenomenon that's truly out there. Does not mean you have to sign up for it. Does not mean you have to subscribe to it. Watch how you're talking to yourself. Okay. So leverage your strengths, inventory your strengths. What are you good at? It's interesting because I was at a networking event not too long ago, and we had to sit in a circle, about 5 of us per group, and we had to tell each other what we were good at. That's a hard exercise to do, right? That's a really hard exercise because especially as women, we are really good at saying, I'm horrible at. And culture has edified that for us. You see all over social media, I'm bad at this, I'm horrible at this, I'm too fat for this, I'm too old for this. But yet when a woman goes on social media and posts, I am confident, I'm an excellent communicator, I'm fun to be around. Right? Now she's stuck up. Who does she think she is? Why do we do this to women? Why aren't we looking at more women when they say those things, when they stand up and say, I'm good at this, I'm great at that? Why aren't we standing shoulder to shoulder with those women and saying, yeah, you are, right? And that ship is starting to turn. That's suddenly becoming more acceptable to do that. But for a long time, especially as women and girls, we're not allowed to do that. That's bravado. That's being stuck up. No, that's standing in your strengths and saying, I have the strength. I'm a confident person. Do you know why I'm a confident person? Because I've got blood on my knees to prove the battles that I've worked through. I've just done this more. That's all. I've just hit live. I'll go live on Facebook and just done this more. That's all. Does that mean that I don't fear before I get on live? Yeah, I have that little tinge of what if, right? But then I run through the reality of the situation is, if no one shows up, fine, I'll just use it for my marketing. If someone shows up, that's great. Let go of the outcome. Okay, let go of the outcome. So I want you to inventory your strengths this week. Excuse me. Inventory your strengths and be honest. Here's a little secret. Pretend like you're working for yourself. Okay? Step outside of yourself. If you were looking at yourself and saying, she does this. She's really good at that. That's one of her strengths. That takes practice to do that. But I encourage you to do that. Start looking at yourself from a third-party perspective. Okay? So I want you to do a couple things this week. I encourage you to take the piece of paper out, inventory your strengths, number one. Okay? Number two, take a piece of paper and write. Is that a fact or a belief? On a Post-it note, stick it on your computer, stick it on your mirror. Is that a fact or a belief? Or in your car, especially when you're sitting and ruminating, stop, time out. Is that a fact or a belief? If it's a fact, act accordingly. If it's a belief, rewrite the narrative. Go, okay, that might have been true 25 years ago. It's not today. Fact or belief. That's number two, right? Number three, I want you to start thinking about the person. What would she do? Okay. That person, that vision that you've got, that Pinterest board, that vision board, whatever you've got in your life that shows the successful woman that has made it in your eyes. What would she be doing right now? Hitting snooze 25 times? No. Not going live on Facebook? No. Not getting on the phone with clients? No. What would your future self be doing to ensure that you're going to make those goals for yourself? And then act accordingly. Confidence is a habit, not a feeling. Whew, we went through a lot of stuff today. I hope that served you well. I hope you were able to grab some good gold nuggets out of that. I am starting a program April 1st. It's called the Confidence Code, where we talk about these things. We talk about how to get visible, how to stop hiding and start helping your clients. That's step number one, right? If clients don't know who you are, how are you going to help them? Then we talk about clients. We talk about bringing clients on that breathe life into you, not just clients that you tolerate because they bring some money into your life, right? You can actually find dream clients that bring money into your life and breathe life into you. It's possible. It's a reality. Okay. Talk about that. Number three, we talk about pricing. Pricing just doesn't exist. It's not something that you just pull out of the ether. We talk about owning your value and your worth. Okay. And how to start charging accordingly. Now, again, big difference between self-worth, okay, and what the worth of your program is. Big difference. We talk about that as well. And then finally, we talk about availability. This is being everything to everybody, right? You're a superwoman. You want to do it all. You feel like you have to do it all. Who else is going to do it? And you are so spread thin. You're answering client calls and client text messages at midnight, right? Now, why are these people calling me? Why are you picking up the phone, right? Has a lot to do with how you're onboarding clients and what you're available for and what you're not available for. And my favorite word in the whole wide world, boundaries. We talk about boundaries. Okay, so I'd love for you to join us. Again, it's April 1st. I'll put some of the details down below. And I'll also put down below some links to StrengthsFinder and to a sheet that you can use to figure out that confidence component loop. Okay, and what that visual looks like. It's helpful to print it out, stick it up there because it's a visual reminder of confidence is not step one, it's step 4. And what needs to take place before you have that confidence. Okay, hope this has served you well. I hope you join us next week for another training on Thursdays at noon Pacific Standard Time. My name is Heather Morrison with Bold Beyond Belief. Go out and have a great day. Bye.